Okay, my bike is an 03. I've got a snap ring that I have to take off before I get to the nut. So I just took the snap ring off, and now the nut for the rear axle on my 03 is on the right side. The axle goes through to the left side, and the nut is welded on the left side. So the nut here on the right side of my bike is a 24 millimeter, and what I have for the other side is a 15/16 socket on another ratchet. And all I'm going to do is break this nut loose. Okay? Now the nut is loose, and this will come your tensioner, it comes off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take and roll my axle so it takes all the tension off the belt. Okay, so I'm going to lower it to this low side of the tension. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to show you that when you roll this in, there's a little knob right here. So when you're rolling this in, this outside diameter gets larger, which allows you to push the wheel back, tightening your belt. Okay, so for right now on this side, you can see that the nut is loose. The tensioner is still there. Let me loosen the tension. I'll just leave it there, and I'll show you around to the other side. So I'll meet you around to the other side, okay, people? Okay, now that we're to the other side, I want to show you that there's tension on the belt. We're still up on the high side of the tensioner. And all I'm going to do now is take the tension off the belt by rolling the axle. And now you see how it just slacked up? Just by rotating my axle, okay? That took all the tension off the belt. Now what I can do is I can push this wheel forward to get slack in my belt. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is move this forward and get set up so I can show you how you can roll the rear wheel to get the belt off before you pull the axle out. Alright, so let me get set up. Now what I've done is I pushed my rear wheel up as far as I could, grabbed a hold of the belt, and got it over top of the front pulley. Okay, now I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to take my rear wheel and I'm going to spin it forward. It's a little hard by myself to get that belt to walk off that front pulley. See it? There it goes. Now, that took the belt off the front pulley. There's no damage to the belt, okay? Now, as you can see, there's the belt off the back pulley. Now all I'm going to do is get ready to remove the rear wheel out from underneath the bike. Now what I've done is I've just taken the bike and I've lowered it down so that the rear wheel is probably about 1/8 of an inch off the ground, okay? Because when I pull out the axle, the rear wheel is going to drop just a little bit. But I'm going to support it with my legs, as you'll see, because I'm going to straddle that rear wheel so I can get it out here. So this is for basically your do-it-yourselfers if you don't have an extra hand. If you got an extra hand, it's great. Okay? But basically I just want to catch the wheel in the axle, get it out. Once the wheel's just standing there, then you can come out from behind the back of the bike, jack up the bike higher, and then roll your rear wheel out. Okay? So I'm going to take off the rear nut on the right side. On the right side, my tensioner comes all the way off. Okay? Now I'm going to get up underneath here. This is my axle right here. As you can see, it just comes out. I'm supporting the wheel, pulling the axle out. There's the axle. Okay? Now the wheels just come down. Now here's my spacer on the left side. and I got a spacer on the right side. So that's the axle out, and let me go to the next step and let me get out from underneath the back of this bike.